Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you for joining us this Sunday morning or Saturday night from wherever you are joining us. It has been an amazing few months that we've been preparing for this webinar, and I'm very happy to welcome all of you in this. We'll probably wait a couple of more seconds to hit the number of people joining us, inshallah, and then we will start. So the format is going to be the same. We are going to talk about the current new product that we have launched. It's indeed a revolution. Inshallah, we'll be talking more about that. And then post that, we will leave about half an hour for your Q&A requirements. The modus operandi of the Q&A will be that you will have to write your questions in the chat applet on your right-hand side. If you can just click on the chat button, and either you can put it in the chat function or in the Q&A section. We will be taking all the questions. I strongly urge that we will take all the questions, and if you have put up a question, we will endeavor to answer that as well. The questions will be answered in the first come, first serve basis, and inshallah, we will try and wrap it up as soon as we finish all the questions. All right, we have got, alhamdulillah, a reasonable number of people who have joined us today. In spite of a lot of people might be probably tracking the cricket match as well. So I believe you will probably have the match on your mobile application or on the TV, and simultaneously you will probably be hearing one of the most revolutionary products which has been extended from the trusted sources of Islamicly and been brought to you in association with such an environment and a platform which connects end to end and gives you a proper solution as to how do you create wealth in a Sharia compliant manner and be absolutely trustful about it, as well as be rest assured that this is in full Sharia compliance. All right, I'll start sharing my screen and we'll get started. There you go. Okay. Once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to everyone who has just joined us. Let us start with a small prayer that may Allah guide us in the right direction and help us make our financial matters and our wealth grow in our Sharia compliant manner. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Let's get started. All right, what has Islamicly been doing so far? Islamicly has a single point agenda of ensuring that we empower global Muslims and the global Muslim investor community by providing them the most trusted, rigorously screened, and Sharia scholars backed products which help us in growing our wealth in a Sharia compliant manner. So now you can invest in halal stocks on Islamicly. You can also invest in Sharia compliant model portfolios, and that's what we are calling the Islamicly Moons. All of this with the trust of the most institutionally trusted and the top Sharia scholars backed platform in today's world. Alhamdulillah, we've been able to maintain that integrity. We've been able to maintain that trust. And alhamdulillah, we have been able to come up with newer and new products which ensure that the products are rigorously in Sharia compliance and are definitely approved by top Sharia scholars across the globe. Let's move on. All right, this is Islamicly Moons. Now, what is a moon? Very, very basically, I would like to give you an understanding at this slide itself, and there's more detailed understanding as we go along, inshallah. A moon is a star, or is it something which has its own light? Essentially, a moon is something which reflects light of the sun. It doesn't have its original light. And that's why we are calling it the Islamicly Moons. All of these are passive investments which do not have their own original ideas, but are subsets, or they track the investment style, or they track the constituents of an existing mutual fund or an ETF. Yes. So if you are looking to invest in a particular mutual fund or an ETF, which may not be Sharia compliant, and more likely it is not Sharia compliant. You have been left out of the thousands of mutual funds and ETFs which have been giving decent returns according to an investment style, risk philosophy, and the personal investment horizon of an investor. But Islamic investors had to keep away from that huge investment or an asset class because they do not, or they were not in Sharia compliance. A large part of it, a significantly large part of it, is Sharia non-compliant. Doing screening on such mutual funds and ETFs would not result in them being investable. We've spoken about this in the past as well. We will be speaking more about this in this slide presentation as well, in this webinar as well. But the only way to invest or to access or replicate the investment style of a mutual fund or an ETF is through a platform like Islamicly Moons. We believe this is the only solution which is available to invest or to sort of invest in a Sharia compliant mutual fund or an ETF. Remember, Islamicly Moons is not an investment in an existing mutual fund. It is not an investment in an ETF, which is Sharia non-compliant. These are subsets of those mutual funds and ETFs, and inshallah I will take you through as to how exactly this works, what it is, what the advantages is, how you will execute this, what are the costs of it, and the likes of it. So this is Islamicly Moons is the world's first revolutionary investment option for Muslim investors to replicate, copy, or track the constituents of any mutual fund or ETF in 100% Sharia compliant manner. So that means you can now access 7,000 plus Sharia subsets of stocks derived out of mutual funds and ETF holdings worldwide. And inshallah, we'll be covering more and more such subsets as we go along. So Islamicly Moons is the only solution currently in the market using which you can track or replicate the constituents of an existing mutual fund or an ETF. A pre-built portfolio of these stocks will be given to you, and you can just invest in a Sharia compliant manner using the same team, the same intelligence, and the same investing proportions, or as they call it, the weightage as allocated by the mutual fund to the existing mutual fund. Let's move on. So what has been the problem? The problem has been that there has been a restricted investment choices because almost all the funds and ETFs in the world are usually non-compliant. If a fund or an ETF is not certified as a Sharia compliant ETF or a fund, screening cannot make it compliant. You cannot invest in that mutual fund or an ETF which is non-compliant. Once you buy the units of a non-Sharia compliant ETF or a non-Sharia compliant mutual fund, you are part of an investment scheme which does not follow Sharia compliance standards. So screening mutual funds and ETF for Sharia compliance does not make it investable. There are products in the market which are giving Sharia compliance statuses on ETFs and mutual funds. The only categorization for a mutual fund or an ETF to be Sharia compliant is that it should be certified as such to be Sharia compliant. If it does not have a certification as well as an ongoing audit, it is not in compliance and it is not available for Sharia compliant investors. Let us understand this absolutely without any doubt. There has been no Sharia scholar board, there has been no reputed Sharia scholar board which has given approval to such a methodology. What is approved is Islamicly Moons, and that is the only methodology available currently through which you can access or track, or as they say, passively track the performance of a non-Sharia compliant mutual fund in a Sharia compliant manner using the Islamicly Moons platform. So a lot of you have been asking us that, can you give us ETF screening or mutual fund screening? And we have stayed away from it because there has been no approval on those methodologies or those proposed methodologies from a Sharia board. Hence, we worked out a solution through which you are not excluded from the entire investment asset class of mutual funds and ETFs by creating a platform like Islamicly Moons, which allows you to harness and passively track the returns or the index or the mutual fund and ETF constituents in a Sharia compliant manner. We're not talking about an index over here. All right, so Islamicly Moons is a first of its kind Sharia scholar backed solution that allows you to invest confidently in fully compliant portfolios of stocks, passively tracking the mutual fund and ETF constituents. So what is an Islamic Moon? It's definitely a portfolio of stocks derived out of an existing mutual fund or an ETF, so that a pre-built model portfolio tracking the original mutual fund is created, and now you have a pre-built, pre-weighted portfolio of stocks which is readily investable by a simple click, and the entire end-to-end Sharia compliance management of monitoring the trades, ensuring that you are allowed to only trade Sharia compliant stocks, removing stocks which turn non-compliant, adding stocks if the individual benchmarked mutual fund or ETF has added a stock, it also gets added to your portfolio. And above all, the entire purification, rebalance, updates are completely automated. When I say automated, you do not have to do any manual computations whatsoever. Once you invest in an Islamicly Moon, your Sharia compliance is the least of your worries, because we have created probably the world's only fully Sharia compliant and 100% automated portfolio of basket investments. Let's move on. So what is an Islamicly Moon? In other words, it's a pre-built portfolio of Sharia compliant stocks. So it's a pre-built portfolio of a Sharia compliant stocks. Whether you call it a portfolio, a basket of stocks, collection of stocks, it's all the same. It's all pre-built, including what stocks you need to invest in, what are the constituents of those, and it's already ready in terms of back-tested data, in terms of its performance graphs, and all of those functionalities are available on the Islamicly Moons platform. So now invest in a Sharia compliant portfolio tracking the intelligence of the benchmark fund. So what does this sentence mean? That now you can invest in a Sharia compliant portfolio tracking the intelligence of the benchmark fund. What it means is, while a benchmark fund, what is a benchmark fund? A benchmark fund is any ETF or mutual fund. We're calling it a benchmark because we are referencing and creating a portfolio out of that mutual fund and out of that ETF. Hence, we're calling it the benchmark fund. Now, you can track the constituents of these mutual funds and ETFs. We create a Sharia compliant subset of it, assign new weights to it, which are in line with the weights given by the mother or the benchmark fund. So the portfolio is created to track, essentially passively track the movements or the styles of investment, the sectors of investment, and whatever the fund manager believes in, removing the non-compliant aspects and just retaining the Sharia compliant aspects. And that creates a pre-built model portfolio, which is readily investable by Sharia compliant investors. So now if you like a fund, it may not be Sharia compliant. If you like to invest in that A fund, you're not allowed to invest in that A fund because it is not certified as Sharia compliant. What do? You search for the same fund on Islamicly Moons. You will find a pre-built model portfolio which passively tracks the constituents and the investment style of that fund. So now you can access the investment style and the investment methodology of a particular mutual fund or an ETF, whichever you like, and replicate that using the Islamicly Moons platform, so that only the Sharia compliant aspects are executed and the entire portfolio is managed in a Sharia compliant manner. As simple as that. One more thing, let me just tell you, as a disclaimer is clear over here. This is not an investment in the benchmark fund. So you do not have to go to the benchmark fund. You do not have to go to the ETF. You do not have to go to the mutual fund and invest in that. No, none of this is an endorsement on a non-compliant mutual fund or a non-compliant ETF, and the stand that an Islamic investor cannot invest in a mutual fund and an ETF, which is not Sharia compliant, is still what Islamicly Sharia board says. So that means the ETF or the mutual fund is not investable, but a subset of that, which is called the Islamicly Moons, this is investable. This is what the Islamicly Moons platform is all about. And this investment is fully Sharia compliant, fully monitored for changes in Sharia compliance, fully monitored for breaches in holding, fully monitored for purification as well. So what are the features of the Islamicly Moons? As I said, it is 100% automatically Sharia compliance monitored. There is no lock-in period, because what is a moon? A moon is a collection of stocks essentially. You're placing an order via your broker and investing in a basket of stocks which is already pre-proportioned, and you invest in it. That means you are essentially investing in stocks which are part of the benchmark mutual fund or ETF, and those stocks are in your physical custody. When I say in your physical custody, it is executed via your brokers and held in your share depository account. That means it is held by you via a technology platform. It is not mixed up in a pool of money that is being paid out to a mutual fund or an ETF. So here you have full control of your own stocks, and you can sell those at any given point in time. You could add more stocks onto it. You can increase your exposure to a particular stock in a proportion that you wish to. So you are in full control, and hence there is no lock-in period. There is automated purification as well. As I said, the entire platform is managed using technology at the back end to monitor all your trades and compute purification automatically by applying the Sharia considerations on it. We will talk about the purification slightly in detail as well as we move along. All investor stocks in your custody, we've spoken about that as well. Rebalancing to track your fund performance. So as I said, if the original fund or the benchmark fund drops a stock from your portfolio as well, this stock will have to be dropped. If the benchmark fund has a Sharia compliant stock, the model portfolio or the Moons also has a Sharia compliant stock, but this stock becomes non-compliant. So this stock will also have to be dropped from your Moons portfolio. Do not worry, you will get clear instructions as to how to do it. Everything is executable with just a few clicks. You do not have to do a lot of hard work of punching things here or matching things here, keeping a separate record outside Islamically. This is an end-to-end fully Sharia compliant product, which has been brought to you by Team Islamically. All right, so let's take an example and see how a moon is created. So you have the original fund constituents. Original fund is what we are calling as the benchmark fund. So we start by selecting mutual funds and ETFs, including both Sharia compliant and non-Sharia compliant stocks. So we start by taking a conventional or a non-Islamic mutual fund or an ETF. This conventional ETF or mutual fund will also contain non-compliant stocks. We apply Sharia screening on the stocks of the mutual fund or the ETF, and we remove the non-compliant stocks so that we are left with only Sharia compliant stocks. Now, as you can see in this illustration, now let me be very clear from a regulatory perspective that this is just an illustration and it is not a representation of the actuals. The actuals are available on the app. The live data is available on the app. We do not endorse investments in any of the branded names or the entities or the financial institutions that we have put in over here. All of these logos belong to their respective owners, and Islamically does not appropriate them. This is used as an example because Tata Mutual Fund is one of the most reputed ones, and it gives the user a decent understanding as to how Islamically Moons work. So there is no reference to Tata Mutual Fund. We have taken mutual funds across asset managers, whether it be Indian asset managers, Indian banking asset managers, or it be the US markets as well as the Canadian markets. So currently the Moons are available for India, USA, as well as Canada, so which are domiciled over there. If you have access to invest in those markets, you can very well access them as well, even if you're outside these three countries. So if you take any conventional fund of Tata mutual fund. Let's say it is called the Tata India Pharma and Healthcare Growth. This is the benchmark. So this is a non-compliant fund. Earlier, you could not invest or access any profits or any returns or any investment styles of this mutual fund because it was completely closed for an Islamic investor. You could not invest in this. Islamicly Moons brings you an opportunity to track or build a portfolio which passively tracks the performance of this Tata mutual fund, whichever is the individual name of the fund. So if you see Tata India Pharma and Healthcare Growth Fund has about 35 stocks as well as 35 compliant stocks plus non-compliant stocks. But we have created the Sharia subset using 29 Sharia compliant stocks. So essentially the 35 stocks, some of them 35 stocks have been Sharia compliant. Some of them have also been removed so that an investable proportionate basket is created. Stocks which are having a high value, stocks which are not having more than one unit in the original benchmark are eliminated as well, so that an investable portfolio is created. So a conventional fund has compliant stocks and non-compliant stocks. We take the compliant stocks, eliminate some of the compliant stocks due to investment considerations and building a portfolio considerations. The methodology of doing this is completely disclosed, and this leads us to a list of stocks which are Sharia compliant and investable, which is the Islamicly Moon. So we then rebalance the portfolio. The remaining compliant stocks out of the constituents of the original benchmark fund are reweighted proportionally to maintain balance and performance. As I said previously as well, some of the compliant stocks will also need to be removed if they are not investable because they may not be having whole numbers. So now what happens by doing this? So if the original or the benchmark fund is giving, let's say, X% return, your Islamicly Moons, which is passively tracking that ETF or that mutual fund which is benchmarked, will have returns in line with the original benchmark fund. When I say it is in line, it may have variation to the actual fund. There are lots of reasons for this, and hence we have said the original fund, if it gives X% return, the Sharia subset or the Sharia Moon or the Islamicly Moon, which is created out of the benchmark fund, will have X plus or minus Y% return. So there will be a variation in terms of return because we are not getting the returns on the non-compliant stocks, which we do not want as well. We just get returns on the Islamic component of the stocks out of the portfolio of the original benchmark fund. Hence, it will not be the same return. It will be tracking the original fund. In certain cases, the returns may be higher. In certain cases, the returns may be lower than the benchmark fund, but they are in line with how the benchmark fund moves. So if the benchmark fund performs well, it is more likely that the Islamicly Moon will also perform well. If the benchmark fund does poorly, it is likely that the Islamicly Moon tracking the performance of the benchmark fund will also not do well. And that is how it moves in line. And that's why we call it passively tracking an existing mutual fund on an ETF, or we call it subsets of the existing Sharia compliant, existing non-Sharia compliant mutual fund. Islamicly Moons is Sharia compliant. The original benchmark fund is not Sharia compliant. And hence, using this process, an Islamicly Moon is created and is ready for investment for Islamic investors. Let's look at the features. Why would you want to invest in an Islamic Moon and not in a mutual fund directly? Let's say you're comparing it with Islamic mutual funds or conventional ones as well. So the biggest issue in investing in a mutual fund or an ETF is its Sharia compliance. So most mutual funds or ETFs do not have a Sharia compliance certificate, and hence they are not eligible for investment by Islamic investors. Islamicly Moons, always compliant. That's the product USP, and that's how it has been built. There are lots and lots of features which have been built into the Islamicly Moons, which automatically ensure that you remain in Sharia compliance. Transparency. In terms of transparency in a mutual fund or an ETF, although you do get a list of constituents which are in which the fund has invested, but this list comes out on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis. You do not also know as to what is the actual investments being done by the mutual fund or the ETF. What is the trading philosophy? What are the trading instruments that they're using? Apart from the stocks, are they investing in anything else? Yes, there are disclosures by mutual funds, but those disclosures are bucket disclosures, that 80 to 85% will be in equity, 15 to 5% will be in cash, but you don't know what and where it is. You don't even know what is the interest income of this mutual fund. You don't know whether their investing styles comply with Sharia-compliant trading rules. You don't know whether any untoward incident has happened inside the mutual fund. They may not be regulatory required to report those things, but from a Sharia perspective, it might affect your assurance that this is being run in a Sharia compliant manner. Hence, a mutual fund or an ETF gives very low visibility of the actual considerations which make it Sharia compliant or non-compliant. With Islamicly Moons, you're investing in only Sharia compliant stocks. All of those are available in your portfolio. You can view them at any given point in time on the Islamicly app as well as on your broker app. That means it gives you full transparency. Let's move on. In terms of cost, expense ratios in existing mutual funds and ETFs are applied, exit loads are applied, and there may be certain charges for your distributor or the other likes of it, or there will be some platform fees that you might have to pay to access all of these things. With us, there is no withdrawal fee. You can withdraw at any given point in time, because what are you doing? If you want to withdraw, you can just sell the stocks and get the cash back in your broker account. Simple as that. So there is no exit load. There is no entry load as well over here. We have flexibility in terms of there is no lock-in period in Islamicly Moons because they are stocks. Stocks do not have any lock-in period, whereas a mutual fund bases its considerations may. A lot of them don't, but a lot of them may have a lock-in period as well. That means you will invest probably for a year, 2 years, 3 years. You can't withdraw before that. If you do, you may have an exit load to bear, an additional exit load to bear. None of this is applied on Islamicly Moons because they are pre-built stocks that you're investing in. As I said, liquidity, redemption process in a mutual fund is time bound. You need to punch in your request to redeem it, and then it comes with its own cycle. Over here, in Islamicly Moons, the redemption or the liquidity is dependent on your stockbroker and your rules of when you sell the stock and by when do you get the money. So as simple as that. When you sell the stock, the stock will get sold off in the exchange. The broker will ensure that the cash is now credited back to your wallet account. Same as that. Simple, straightforward. It is essentially investing in stocks, tracking the performance of a benchmark mutual fund or an ETF. That is an Islamicly Moon. All right. I have spoken a little bit about this in the past, but this is the key reason why we have not come up with an ETF or a mutual fund screening, and why we have come up with Islamicly Moons as an alternative solution to ETF and mutual fund screening. Now, let's compare both. Screening a mutual fund or ETF does not result in Sharia compliance. That why? Because there are investments in non-compliant stocks. There are investment in non-compliant assets as well. Not only does a mutual fund or an ETF could invest in only stocks, they also have allocations to put some money in money markets, some in debt instruments. Yes, all of these are disclosed in the prospectus, but they may not be practically used, or they may be practically used depending on market conditions. So we do not have exposure or information or disclosure about what is a fund manager doing inside its ETF. So just screening stocks out of an existing mutual fund will not result in accessing that mutual fund. You cannot invest in an existing mutual fund which is not Sharia compliant. Full stop. So how Moon solves this problem? Very simple. You have investment only in Sharia compliant stocks. At the same time, the Sharia compliant stocks pre-built model portfolio is built using the constituents and the weightages and the investing style of a mutual fund. So not only are you investing in Sharia compliant stocks, you have built a portfolio which tracks the intelligence of the mutual fund or the benchmarked mutual fund or ETF. There is periodic rebalance, which ensures that stocks remain in Sharia compliance and passively tracks the benchmark fund constituents as well. So as I said, if a stock becomes non-compliant, you will have to exit that. You will get an alert about it. If a stock is being dropped from the benchmark fund, although it may be Sharia compliant, it will also be dropped from the model portfolio or the moons, which has been created to passively track the performance and the constituents of the benchmark mutual fund. Let me say it again. There is periodic rebalance to do two things. One, to remain in Sharia compliance. Two is to ensure the addition or deletion of stocks or changes in weights and proportions of an individual stock inside the original non-compliant mutual fund, which is called the benchmark fund. If any stock changes over here, composition changes, or that a new stock which is added or one stock has been deleted, it will also be replicated in the Islamicly moons with respect to that benchmark fund. This moon will always be in compliance because it will only allow investment in Sharia compliant stocks derived out of the mutual fund. So I'm sure you would have understood this, that all of this gives you full transparency. So you always see what you are investing in. And as it is known to everyone, there are no entry loads or exit loads when you're investing in a stock. Whereas when you invest in a mutual fund or an ETF, there may be an entry load and there may be an exit load as well. And here, all the trades are in your control and possession because you're investing in direct stocks which are part of the benchmark fund. Direct stocks are executed through your broker and they're held in a dematerialized form with your stock depository. So hence, it is essentially in your control and not in the control of the mutual fund. So in terms of bankruptcy or any of the untoward instances of a mutual fund or an ETF, you are not getting affected by it because you are investing in stocks out of that mutual fund's choice of stocks. But those stocks are executed via your own broker and held in your own demat account or the digital depository of shares, so that you have full custody of it and it is outside any bankruptcy proceedings, or it is absolutely not affected by what happens to the mutual fund through which it tracks. It is disconnected. It is just tracking it. It is not physically connected. Okay, let's talk about costs and efficiencies over here. So cost effectiveness, moons versus mutual funds. Definitely you will be saving tons of money while investing in Islamicly moons. In mutual funds, you have up to 2.25% annual charges, which is called the expense ratio. Islamicly moons, there is no such thing. One subscription to Islamicly app. Yes, your existing subscription to Islamicly app covers all the products under the Islamicly app. So whether you're investing in a single moon or investing in multiple moons, there are no additional charges. Islamicly moons is not billed or charged per moon. They are available for all Islamicly users who have a subscription to the Islamicly account. So just imagine you have access to thousands of Sharia compliant subsets of existing mutual funds and ETFs. You can invest in any of these which tracks the performance or tracks the constituents of the mother mutual fund and ETF. All of this is completely free and you get access to it by just accessing the Islamicly platform using a single subscription. Yes, if you have to invest in multiple markets, you'll have to take multiple subscriptions for each market so that you get the constituents or the mutual funds and ETFs of that market as well. Simple and straightforward as that. It is the most cost effective, the most cost efficient, and definitely a very easy, simple to do execute, trustful click, 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 and you're invested. Similarly, there's no exit load in Islamicly Moons, as well as there's no distributor or an agent commission over here. So why should you choose the Islamicly Moons? You can track any mutual fund and ETF. So replicate, copy any mutual fund or ETF holdings and remain in Sharia compliance. That has been the biggest ask of the entire community of Islamicly, as well as outside the community as well. This is the single biggest feedback that we have been listening, that can we create portfolios which track the performance of existing mutual funds which are closed for Islamic investors because they're non-compliant. So yes, now Islamicly Moons provides you an opportunity to access or harness the intelligence of all mutual funds and ETFs, thousands of mutual funds and ETFs, by creating pre-built model portfolios of subsets of stocks derived out of the mutual fund to be in full Sharia compliance as well. Definitely, Islamicly Moons has monitors your stocks for full Sharia compliance continuously. There is transparency as well. Investors see exactly which stocks they hold, and they can keep tinkering with it if they need. It is suggested not to, but you can. It's cost effective as there are no fund manager fees. There are lower costs than mutual funds. As I said, each mutual fund that you invest in will require you to pay them an entry load as well as an exit load. With Islamicly Moons, there is zero entry load, there is zero exit load, because these are essentially investments in your stocks. Another advantage of Islamicly Moons is, if you invest in the Islamicly Moons, you do not get charged even the brokerage that the broker charges for executing these stocks. There are no charges from your broker side as well. Islamicly also does not apply any charge whatsoever on buying or the commissions of buying such stocks. Neither does Islamicly make any money from commissions of investing in the pre-built portfolios. No, it's just a model portfolio which has been given to you. It will be rebalanced, tracked, monitored for Sharia compliance, and there are absolutely no charges to access it. There are no charges to trade it as well. In addition to this, your broker will also not charge you any commissions for investing in Islamicly Moons. This has been tested across multiple brokers, but if your broker may charge this fee, because we cannot control as to what charges your broker might take, but even if he does, it will not be more than your normal regular commissions of buying or selling stock. We have confirmations from multiple brokers that when an Islamicly customer invests via the Islamicly platform, connects to his broker and executes a trade, the broker will not charge you a commission. But there may be very few instances where there may be charges, but at the best, these will be charges for executing a stock trade, and no additional charges or no extra charges for executing an Islamicly Moons basket. As I said, it's easy to invest. It has automatic rebalancing, and it has flexibility as well, because there is no lock-in period whatsoever. We're coming to almost to the end of my slide presentation. I believe if you have questions, start typing in your questions as we go along. And inshallah, once I finish, I will take all the questions together. And if it requires revisiting the slides for better understanding, we will do that as well. How does the moon work? Now, this is a very important aspect. Just get a single understanding as to how this works. Once you understand this, it is going to be very easy for you to invest in pre-built portfolios of stocks which are Sharia compliant, automatically monitored for compliance, rebalanced and purified. All of this derived out of the holdings of an existing mutual fund, which we are calling the benchmark fund. So step one, browse available moons. On the Islamicly app, you have thousands of moons available, so which are pre-built Sharia compliant portfolios. Select a moon that fits your investment goal. We do not recommend any Islamicly moon. We give out the entire listing. It's up to you to make an informed decision. Please consult your investment advisor before investing. Islamicly does not recommend A moon or B moon. Even the listings which are on top are sorted by a set methodology. It is not an endorsement of those funds or those ETFs, nor is it an endorsement of investing in the Islamicly Moon or the subset of those stocks. They are just listings. Investment is definitely to be done through your own intelligence or through advice of a registered investment advisor in whichever country you are domiciled in. So you can invest in one stock in one click. No need to screen the stocks yourself. No need to build the portfolio yourself. No need to put weights yourself. No need to monitor the stocks for compliance yourself. No need to calculate breach. There is no need to calculate the purification as well. All of this is fully automatic, tracked in real time as well. Yes, you can withdraw or reinvest anytime with full flexibility. So let's say you've invested in Islamicly Moon. You want to add more. Just keep on adding more and more units of the Islamicly Moon. You can do that at any given point in time. Yes, it requires markets to be open. If the markets are open, it's only then the orders will get executed via your broker. All order execution queries needs to be directed to your broker. Islamicly has absolutely nothing to do with the broker. We have no data sharing in terms of your security and your details of your broker. All of it is controlled by your broker and at your brokers and in your broker's environment. As with every product of Islamicly, as I have said, any and everything which comes out of the Islamicly stable is certified by the reputed Sharia Scholars Board that Islamicly has, which is under the chairmanship of Dr. Muhammad Al-Ghari. He is also one of the key Sharia Scholar Board members of AOFI Sharia Standards Board. He is also a pioneer in this space in terms of having board positions in Islamic indices, Islamic asset managers, and both in the West, Middle East, as well as in the Far East. So he's one of the most reputed and one of the most experienced Sharia scholars in the Islamic finance industry, and more specifically in the Sharia asset management field. So yes, this certificate is available on the desktop version as well for you to view. We've hidden the signatures on the certificate for privacy reasons, but this is a fully certified and signed product by the Sharia board. Cool. So if you're ready to invest with Islamicly Moons, it is the real solution to mutual funds and ETF screening, as I've spoken about. Existing mutual funds and ETF screening is not approved by any reputed board of Sharia scholars. If you want to harness the potential of an ETF or a mutual fund which is non-compliant, Islamicly Moons is the only solution which is fully automated in the market. This helps you passively track existing mutual fund or ETF with embedded Sharia compliance. It lowers the cost. As I said, Islamicly Moons is free. One subscription to the app per market gives you access to thousands of moons in that market. We currently cover India, USA, as well as Canada. You have full transparency and flexibility, as I spoke to you. And yes, above all, it comes with the trust that it is 100% Sharia compliant and 100% backed and approved by Sharia scholars. Certain disclaimers: all the model portfolios as per regulation, especially in India, are built by Securities Exchange Board of India research analyst. This is the registration number. These disclaimers are also given on the product. And as they say, this document is for informational, educational, and promotional purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Consult your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. The securities quoted are only for illustration and are not recommendatory in nature. Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all related documents carefully before investing. All related documents are available on the product before you decide to click on the Invest Now button. So please do read the fine prints. Although we do not have a lot of fine prints, it's just in terms of the font may be smaller for want of space. We believe in transparency. There is no small font. There are no hidden terms and conditions. It's just that you need to be aware as to what you're investing in, and hence, please do ensure that you look at all the documents which are available on the Islamicly app under the Moons section before you make an investment decision. We'll move on to the Q&A section very soon. If anyone has any questions, happy to take your answers in a bit. All right, let me start from the beginning. That is on the top. Okay, walaikum assalam to everybody. Yes, it is borrowed light, reflected light. That's what a moon is. Thank you. How to invest money without interest company. How to invest money? Look at either the Islamicly stocks training. It gives you a list of stocks which are rigorously screened for Sharia compliance. Or if you are looking for investment ideas, you can invest through Islamicly Moons. All of these are Sharia compliant products, and you do not have to worry about any of the Sharia considerations once you use the Islamicly app. Whatever is available on the Islamicly app is fully Sharia certified and compliant. Lots of comments I can see, and I'm happy to see these comments saying that people saying, congratulations, this was very much needed. Alhamdulillah, we worked to get this for you. Adil Shahmadar is asking, is it same like small case? Yes, this is exactly same like small cases. Small cases is a brand owned by small cases, and hence we cannot say their name without giving proper disclosure. If you conventionally use the word small case, yes, Islamicly Moons are essentially small cases. These are built out of an existing mutual funds constituents, and they try and imitate the weightages and the proportions of the original non-compliant mutual fund and create a Sharia compliant basket of stocks, subset of stocks, or a model portfolio of stocks, whichever you like to call it, which is investable in a Sharia compliant manner via connecting to your broker, same like how small case does. You can monitor the compliances of it on the Islamicly app. All your positions will be uploaded on the Islamicly app automatically if you connect and trade through the Islamicly app. All of this is tradable through the Islamicly app only. Yes, the recording will definitely be available on the YouTube channel. Swapan Kumar is saying the variation between underlying mutual fund and this product will be huge. Take, for example, MRF is 0.5% of the assets. You don't expect retail investors to invest in crores. Yes, there are drawbacks of this product, but it is exactly the same as a small case. So if there are many consumers who are looking to invest in small cases, we have created thousands of Sharia compliant small cases. When I say it's not on the small case platform, it's a reference for understanding. Small cases is a technology platform and the brand name is owned by small case. So we cannot be using it colloquially. Hence, we're calling it model portfolios. Yes, these model portfolios will have tracking differences between its mother mutual fund as well as between its mother mutual fund and the Moon. Various reasons. One is disclosure. We get to know the constituents with a time lag. So the fund may have invested in that stock, but the disclosure to us is at a further point in time. The returns may be affected by the composition of your Moons versus the benchmark fund, because the benchmark fund has non-compliant stocks and your Moon has only compliant stocks. Hence, there will be certain differences, but this is the best way to closely track the investment idea and style of a mutual fund. Definitely, you cannot achieve the same return as the mutual fund or the ETF because it's non-compliant. So it was never available to access. What was available to access was a subset. And that's what Islamicly Moon gives you. Saeed, again, the same comment. It's more or less like a small case with the new name. Yes, it is like a small case. It is called Islamicly Moons because this is a product which is created in a Sharia compliant manner with additional functionalities to ensure Sharia compliance. A small case would not give you the functions and features to give full Sharia compliance. Islamicly Moons is definitely a small case. The investment philosophy is disclosed. It is reflective of the existing mutual fund and ETF. but it also has all the features which are required to remain in Sharia compliance. So purification, rebalance, exit non-compliant stocks, reproportion your entire portfolio, all of this, your breaches, everything is auto-monitored and disclosed on the Islamicly app. This is not there in any other platform across the world, anywhere that we have seen. All right, Arif is asking, in small cases, there is option minimum investment amount after buying the small case. Is Moon like that? After invest in Moon, can I invest minimum amount like 5K or 6K? The minimum investment sizes can be sorted on the Islamicly app. We have not been able to get it down to this values of 5K or 6K. But yes, we have small cases which are worth 25,000, 30,000, 35,000, and up to about 150,000. These are dependent on the actual stock prices in the market. So they may go up or they may go down depending on the actual price of the stock, which is part of the Islamicly Moon. Inshallah, if in the future there'll be fractionalizing available on the Indian stock market, the moons can come down to smaller values of 5,000 to 6,000 Indian rupees. In the US and Canada market, where fractional is available, moons are available for lesser initial investment sizes as well. Amin is asking, which is the best to buy, everyone? We are not investment advisors, as I said. Although these portfolios have been built in compliance with local regulations and they have been built by a SEBI registered research analyst, we do not recommend any investment over the other. We are listing it, we're following a methodology, and it's up to you to make an investment choice. This is not an invitation to invest, or this is not a recommendation to invest. Investment is absolutely dependent on your own choice. Amin is also asking, is SIP there? As of now, we do not have an SIP. We are working on it. There are certain nitty-gritties about it. Inshallah, we will be able to solve them very soon and bring in an SIP over here as well, like how we brought it in the Islamicly 24K real gold. There are SIPs also available over there. Sharfuddin is asking, do you have similar to Tata Ethical or Taurus Ethical or Quantum Ethical? I mean, Tata Ethical and Quantum are certified as Sharia-compliant ETFs and Sharia-compliant mutual fund. You can invest in those mutual funds directly. But leaving these two, every other mutual fund and ETF in India, let's talk about, is Sharia non-compliant. That means you could not access the more than 4,000 or 5,000 mutual funds and ETFs which are listed or available for investment in India. Islamicly Moons opens up all of these 4,000 to 5,000 mutual funds and ETFs for Islamic investors to invest, not in that mutual fund, but a subset of stocks which tracks the methodology of the individual mutual fund, and you are creating a passive tracking portfolio of stocks which banks on the investment style and the intelligence of the asset manager, while creating a portfolio of stocks which are in compliance with Sharia and fully monitored for Sharia compliance. This opens up access to all of these non-compliant mutual funds. To be very clear, it is not an investment in a non-compliant mutual fund. That means you cannot go and buy the unit of the mutual fund from the mutual fund guy, because that is non-compliant. You can buy the Islamicly Moon, which tracks the performance or tracks the constituents or tracks the investment style as per the methodology disclosed of that non-compliant ETF, hence giving you reasonable returns which are reflective of the original benchmark fund. Assalamu alaikum. Abdul Ghani is asking, is Islamicly Moon SEBI approved? I mean, anything you had taken to take the SEBI approval? As we've said in this presentation as well, we are following the SEBI regulations. These products do not require a pre-approval from the regulator. These products are already part of the regulations, and how they should be created, how they should be maintained, what should be the disclosures, all of it is taken care of, and we have launched this product in compliance with SEBI regulations, and they are being built by a SEBI research analyst as well. Please note, you are not getting into an advisory contract with the SEBI research analyst who has built this portfolio. These portfolios are pre-built models and are displayed. You are not relying on the advice of the RA. You are not. We are not giving any investment advice, but the portfolios have been built in full compliance with SEBI regulations as well. Sharfuddin says how to compare benchmarks and moon baskets. The performance comparison is given on the Islamicly app. Just fire up the app, access any of the moon. You will see a graph. That graph compares the performance of the benchmark and the model portfolio, which is the Islamicly Moon. Suhais is asking a question. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. Great initiative and product. Is there a feature for purification of fund outside of dividend, like how Tata Ethical Fund does? This product will have an end-to-end Sharia compliance and purification system in place. If you go and check out the Islamicly Moons platform on the Islamicly app, just update the app and it should show up. Whether you are a paid user or a free user, does not matter. All the moons are available for you to look into it. If you want to, there are certain key pieces of information which will be hidden. But if you're a paid user, you can see all of those features also available to you. But if you're a free user, you can definitely go to the Islamicly app, check it out, and you can see that it not only gives you the pre-built basket, it gives you the tracking, it gives you the purification, as well as it gives you the rebalancing options as well. There are no rebalances effective now, hence that section is blank. There is no purification required as of now. In the investments, there are periodic reviews that are conducted for purification, and if there is an instance of purification applicable on your moon, your purification tab inside the Islamicly Moon will have a value of what needs to be purified and what is the Sharia compliant portion of your investment. So you do not need to do anything outside. You can just use the Islamicly app. It will be an end-to-end Sharia compliance monitoring and purification system. Investment, monitoring, and purification system. Adil is asking, what is the difference between moons and small cases? The idea is the same. Moons is an Islamic product which has additional functionalities of rebalancing for non-compliance. It also has a purification system in place. It also has a rebalancing system in place. So essentially, it is a small case in compliance with Sharia rules. You can say that. SIP is coming up soon, inshallah. We're trying to work out the nitty-gritties. Sharfuddin says, already we have big losses in the existing portfolio. How will moons be better? Investments are subject to market risks. We cannot comment on that. But yes, this is the intelligence of a fund manager. I mean, if a mutual fund has been created, it has been created by rigorous research, by the fund manager, I would believe, by the fund house, I would believe. We're taking that investment philosophy, creating a Sharia compliant subset. So I believe these are well researched, thematic, or sectoral, or whichever moon you try to select. There is better intelligence built into them than probably an individual's research. That is the best that I can say. This is again not an investment advice that ditch stocks and go to moons. It is pre-built ideas essentially. So rather than some people talk about this sector goes up, this sector goes down, whatever it is, these are pre-built ideas. Look at that. Look at the back-tested data. You can do certain calculations and then make an investment decision. All right. When we purchase the second time, will the price come down? Yes, there are additional discounts for additional markets as well. If you have any concerns on the pricing, please get in touch with our customer support and they will be able to assist you in any of these functionalities. Farooq is asking, any Indian ETF is available as Moon? All Indian ETFs, all Indian mutual funds are available on Moons. Yes, I'm very, very happy to disclose that the entire mutual fund market in India, the entire ETF market in India, equity-based, are part will have a moon in the Islamicly platform. So yes, all mutual funds, all ETFs which are equity based and which has not been certified as Sharia compliant, you will have a tracking or a passive moon available, which is a Sharia compliant subset of stocks in which you can invest with the peace of mind that the entire program is fully automated and Sharia compliant. Ahmed has made a big comment and he has a couple of questions as well. Let me try and read that. Thanks a lot for your work towards halal investing. Jazakallah khair. Please pray for us. Moons is indeed a revolution in this path. Alhamdulillah. However, the point of ETFs is also to be able to buy pieces of multiple stocks. The drawbacks of moons would be that you have to buy a full stock, which makes the tickets very expensive. Is there a way to, like ETFs, somehow buy pieces of these moons? Barakallahu feek. We are working on it. It all depends on what is allowed from a regulatory perspective. There are certain challenges from a regulatory perspective, and there are certain challenges from the way the industry is set up. In the US market and the Canadian markets where fractional investing is available, you can have the same exposure as probably the ETF because fractional investing is available, and hence the unit sizes will also get reduced. In India, you do not have that advantage because you will have the minimum you have to invest is a one full stock. If that stock is priced X, all the components of the moon multiplied by its weights, multiplied by its price will be the final price of the moon. And all of these are affected by actual prices of that stock when it gets loaded onto your broker. So yes, when the moon is being displayed on the Islamicly platform, it is using the last closing price. When you try to invest, there will be certain variation in the cost of the moon because it will be repriced at the current market prices of those stocks which are available on your stockbroker platform. All of this is visible to you on the stockbroking platform before you invest because this is regulatory. You need to know what and how much you are going to buy and what's the value of it. Once all of the moons gets loaded onto your broker platform by clicking on the Islamicly Moons platform of Invest Now, you will get the updated price of that moon as per the current market prices of that stock. So yes, fractional is not available and hence the unit sizes have become bigger. But if you do not invest in those proportions, then the cost of Islamicly subscription versus your investment doesn't seem to be in proportion. You need to be investing more and more in moons so that your cost of investing just goes down. It just averages it out. Can we do SIP in moons? As I said, we are working on it. There are certain nitty-gritties about it. But inshallah, we will try and crack that as well. As of now, no SIPs. SIPs are available in gold. Go ahead. 100 rupee SIPs you can do in gold. Yes, I'll get to the Q&A as well. I'm just finishing the chat functions. We will wrap this up in about 25 minutes from now. So if you have any questions, please do put this up over here. Sohaib is asking a very interesting question. Any upcoming plan enabling Islamicly users to invest directly through our platform without involvement of any broker? There are regulatory challenges in this, but that's something that we are definitely exploring. And inshallah, very soon, and hopefully we will come up with a solution for this as well, so that it's an integrated experience using a broker platform at the back end. We are working on it, inshallah, and if the regulatory issues get resolved, inshallah, we will be able to come up with that as well. So Hayes says, is there a zero interest company based moon? Zero interest is not a criteria from a Sharia compliance perspective. What you can do is, once you see the constituents of a moon, you can screen those constituents again on the Islamicly screening platform and see if they have zero interest. As you can see, if you go to a stock or if you go to a universe and filter it by zero interest, you will get an update on it. But I do not believe, the Sharia scholars do not believe that you need to complicate your Sharia screening or the Sharia investment program by looking at certain aspects which have not been put out as a criteria. Now, if you're looking at a zero interest stock inside a moon, let me explain you the end result. The end result of your returns is net, is minus of the exposure of interest income to your holding. How? All of the interest income which a company derives is computed as part of the impure income, as part of the non-compliant income. This non-compliant income proportion is applied on the dividends that you receive from the company. That means if you receive 100 rupees as dividends from a company and the proportion of interest income and other impure income was, let's say, 4%, we will tell you that you will have to purify 100 into 4% is equal to 4 rupees. In your Islamicly Moons purification section, you will see that out of this moon, you will have to purify 4 rupees. The 4 rupees is for one stock. Of the multiple stocks will get added up, and you will say 4 plus whatever X gets added up is the actual INR value, USD value, CAD value that you will have to purify. There is no manual computation required anymore. We have cracked that. Muhammad Abdul Rahman says, will there be tax implications for rebalancing baskets? How it compares to mutual funds, as mutual fund when rebalanced are tax-free? Not sure. Please clarify / throw some light on this subject. All right, I got that. When a mutual fund rebalances, it is an internal thing. Your units are not sold or bought, and hence you do not have a tax implication on the gains that you make. In the Islamicly Moons, when a rebalance happens, you are essentially selling a stock. When you sell a stock, if there is a gain, you will be charged the transaction fee from a tax perspective. So tax implication of securities transaction tax or your income tax will be affected when a rebalance happens, because there is a capital gain that you are making because you're selling that stock out. And if there is a gain available, you will have to account that as per your local income tax laws, and the taxes of transaction will be applicable on it as well. Yes, so there are tax implications to this, but I do not think that these tax implications are above the tax implications that you will have to bear if you're investing in a unit of a mutual fund. That's what our understanding is. The practical scenarios may differ. So to have fair disclosure over here, when a rebalance happens inside a mutual fund, it doesn't affect you because your unit is still intact. You have not sold your unit, and hence no capital gain has occurred to you. When a rebalance occurs, which requires you to sell a stock, if that stock is in gains, you will be applicable for capital gains tax and the relevant taxes for executing that trade as well. Suggest me small case for 10 years time. We are not investment advisors. We do not recommend any investment between A or B. We give you screening and we give you the list and we give you a standard methodology. It's up to you to choose which which moons you like, which stock you like and invest in. Please consult a registered investment advisor in your jurisdiction before making an investment decision. But Ahmed is asking a good question. I had previously bought a Shariah-compliant ETF from in the US market. I would now like to eventually move to Islamicly Moons, but since I'm not sure if my actual holdings inside those Sharia-compliant ETFs are really Sharia-compliant, I don't know if I can sell them and reinvest in Islamicly Moons, or if I have to purify, give away all the profit before. What's your view on whether these funds are Sharia compliant? What should I do to sell them in a halal way? All right, I understood your question. I have skipped the names of the funds because they are proprietary and we do not want to appropriate them to ourselves. They are owned and legally owned by their respective owners, and hence I have not named the funds that you said. The essential question that the brother is asking is he has invested in Sharia compliant funds and ETFs. So what does this mean? It is certified as Sharia compliant and hence he is invested in it. He'd like to move to Moons and sell those Sharia compliant mutual funds and ETF. If you sell those mutual funds and ETFs which are Sharia compliant, all your returns will be considered Sharia compliant, because those funds and those ETFs have had a Sharia certification. I am not commenting on how rigorous it is. I am not commenting on whether it is up to our Islamically standards. Everybody has their own standards. It's up to you to understand which service provider or which platform is giving the most rigorously and the most trusted and the most Sharia scholar backed products. So make your own decision. So if you sell those existing ETFs and mutual funds which are Sharia compliant, all the returns will be considered Sharia compliant, and you can retain them subject to the purification number that they disclose to you. Now, this is again a challenge. I would not say many, few of those ETFs and mutual funds which are Sharia compliant do not give out a very clear, easy purification number, and then it becomes a nightmare. So, Brother Ahmed, do not bother about a particular stock inside a Sharia compliant mutual fund is invested in by your mutual fund company, whereas that same stock may not be compliant in Islamically. There are various reasons of it. One is methodology. The fund will be following a different methodology. Islamically is following a different Sharia compliance methodology. Two is timing differences as well. Funds update their data once in a quarter or once in a month. So a stock may have turned non-compliant because Islamically is updated on a daily basis, but the fund may continue to hold it because they have a rebalance schedule in monthly or quarterly, and that's Sharia approved as well. So there'll be differences over there. Thirdly, as we always say, it's interpretation issues. It is the color of how deep you go inside, or the understanding of a particular stock may give different results. So, and that's why this multi-criteria stuff, which is going on in the market, doesn't seem to be a Sharia compliant approach. You have to figure out a methodology that you like, that you trust, the platform you trust, the scholars you trust, and then keep following that. So simple answer, yes, you can exit the existing mutual funds, which are Sharia compliant, retain all of its capital gains, subject to purification, invest that values in the Islamicly Moons. Simple and straightforward as that. Is your investment tracked in Zerodha app? Yes, if Zerodha is an Indian stockbroker, via Islamically, you connect to Zerodha, you trade on your Zerodha platform. All your trades for this moon gets come and sit inside the portfolio of Islamically for continuous compliance monitoring. At the same time, because you've executed this basket of stocks inside Zerodha, you will also see your holdings inside Zerodha as well. All trades, that is exits as well as buys, will happen on your brokerage platform only. Islamically does not change your portfolio. We have zero authorization. We have zero access to your actual portfolio. We cannot drop a stock from your actual portfolio or add a stock to your actual portfolio. We only suggest what has to be done, and we give you tools through which you can click and execute under your authorization. So rest be assured that everything is under your control and you are maintaining and holding custody. There's nothing happening without your consent. Okay, what are the subscription charges of buying moons and ETF? No subscription charges. It is part of the Islamically subscription itself. After one-time investment, so Adil Shahmadar has asked a very interesting question. After one-time investment, if I want to invest some amount, if I see opportunities in the market, so can I invest before the rebalance? You can invest in a moon today. You can top up your investments by buying more and more units at any given point in time, as long as the markets are open and you have the funds in your broker account as well. So it doesn't matter whether before rebalance, after rebalance, you can continuously invest more and more in the same moon by adding more units to it, or you can invest in other moons. There is no entry time or there's no exit time. Rebalancing does not stop you from adding more stocks or adding more units or reducing units in your investment. So you can do it at any given point in time. The more you invest, the more rationalized you are in the market with respect to the cost of investment. Junaid Sheikh is asking, is quantum ethical compliant? I have seen the certification of the Quantum Ethical Fund, and looking at that certification, it seems to be Sharia compliant. I didn't see any kind of, Amin is asking, I didn't see any kind of gold-based stocks. If there is an ETF which has investment in gold, and if that stock is compliant, it will also be part of the moon. So if it is non-compliant, it will be eliminated. So we are not biased towards any sector or any commodity. Can I use Islamicly Moon if I'm living in Germany? Yes, you can use Islamicly Moon if you're living in Germany. If you have a broker account which gives you access to the India, US, or the Canada market, you can very well use it. And Adil Sheikh is asking, Walaikum Salam, any word on valuations? As I said, we are not giving out investment advice. This is something that you'll have to do with respect to your own research or consult a registered investment advisor. Naved Iqbal says, does it include index funds also? Yes, it does include index funds. Any mutual fund or any ETF, whether it's linked to the index, by market capitalization, by themes, by technology, by mining, by commodity, by energy, by index, every fund is available. Every fund's Islamicly Moon is available. What do I do if my broker is not available in the list? What you can do if the broker is not available in the list is tell the customer support that this is the broker that you have. It's not available in the list, or better still, open another broker account just for Islamicly Moons from the list of available brokers. For now, that's the solution. Mubashir is asking, how frequently did you check the compliance of a stock, monthly or quarterly? The compliance of a stock is checked on a daily basis, because on a daily basis, whenever the markets are trading, there are factors which affect the compliance of stocks. So yes, Islamicly is updated on a daily basis. As you can see on the top of the Islamicly pages of every stock, you can see when was the last time it was updated. It will say a couple of hours ago, right? So that's the exact time that when the stock is updated. Does your app have tie-up with Dhan broker? I'm not too sure if Dhan is available. Just check the appellate of the available brokers. If you go to the Islamicly app, on the top itself, you'll have Explore Moons and you'll have Check Available Brokers. You click on that, you can get the list of all the available brokers which are which are connected to Islamicly. All right, I will now move to the Q&A section. And before that, I have two more questions over here. Aziz is asking a question on the historical compliance of stocks. The historical compliance of stocks is available on the web version. So all the Islamicly app users, you have already been upgraded free of cost to the web version as well. So if you log into the web version, you can see the history and the compliance history of a particular stock as well. If you've forgotten the password of your Islamicly app, it's very simple. Just go to Islamicly.com, and on the top hand side, you have a login button. Click on the login button. Over there, you can input your username and password, or from the Islamicly app, go to the profile section, and on top, it says login to your web. If you click on that, a QR scanner opens up, and on the web, you will have the QR. It's same like how you log into WhatsApp for web. So even if you've forgotten the password, it doesn't matter. Just scan your app, the QR code which comes on your screen, on the Islamicly.com web platform at the login stage. You click on that, there is an option of either username, password, or login through your app. When you say login through your app, click on that, a QR code opens up. On the Islamicly app, go to the profile section. On the top left, you'll have login to the web. Click on that. A a QR scanner opens up and you will be logged into your web as well. So this functionality of historical compliance of stocks is available on the desktop version of the Islamicly app. Arshad says, is it mandatory for Islamicly subscription to buy Islamicly Moon? Yes, my dear friend. This is a lot of hard work which has come in, and one subscription, remember, one subscription gives you access to thousands of moons. Every moon is not priced separately. Unlike we've named small case, I'm just using them because it's a reference. They have every individual portfolio is charged separately. In Islamicly, all the mutual funds, all the ETFs, their subsets in a Sharia compliant manner, fully automated, fully screened, completely end-to-end Sharia managed, completely free, comes in one subscription price. So go ahead and support us by increasing subscriptions and invite your friends as well to look at this. I moved on to the Q&A section now. I'll start from the top. So please explain how to start trading and which application and how to profit from it. I think this is outside our purview. Hence, I will skip this. You should probably get in touch with trainers or read up more about this. Can we do SIP of 500 or 5,000? SIPs on Moons are not available as of now, but inshallah, we are working on it and we will be able to crack that very soon. How Moons is different to green ethical portfolio small case? Musawwir has asked a very good question. So Moons, how is it different from the green ethical portfolio that has been available on the Islamicly app but hosted on the small case platform? How is it different? Green ethical small case is an active portfolio. It is managed by Green Portfolio, which is an active fund manager. So they include stocks, they remove stocks, basis market intelligence, and the regulatory framework that they fall under. Islamicly Moons doesn't do that. It's exactly the same, but it's passive. So green ethical small case is active. Islamicly Moons are passive. Passive means it just reflects the compositions and the investment style of an existing mutual fund and ETF. Inshallah, using the same platform, we will have more and more active portfolios also coming in. So we'll probably come up with a survey at a certain point in time and ask you that if you're happy with the Islamicly Moons, which are passive investments, inshallah, down the line, we will have active portfolios by inviting more and more managers, and as well as Islamicly also publishing their own model portfolios subject to regulatory permissions and compliance with local regulations. There's a private question which says portfolio disclosure is done by AMC every quarter or every month. So we come to know the change of portfolio after 1 month. Is there any mechanism to know when it was done, on what date? The constituents of the benchmark fund and the constituents of the Moon at the start, at rebalance, all of these are also given on the Islamicly app. You can see all the constituents of the benchmark fund, as well as you can see what is a subset or the model portfolio under the Islamicly Moons and what stocks are comprised of it. If the mother fund or the benchmark fund changes its constituents, Islamicly Moons constituents will also change, and full disclosure is given side by side. Check it out on the app. It's as simple as that. Parvez Ahmed says, what about Tata Ethical Fund? Tata Ethical Fund is a Sharia compliant fund, and hence creating a Moon on that doesn't make sense because it's a Sharia compliant fund already. A Moon will also have the same stocks. Rebalance cycle of Islamicly Moons will be on a monthly or quarterly basis. Rebalancing will be on a quarterly basis to start off with, because most of the funds disclose their holdings only on a quarterly basis. As we move along and as we have better and better and efficient processes and disclosure processes, inshallah, we don't mind rebalancing whenever it requires a rebalancing. And whenever a rebalance comes, you will get notified on the app that there's a rebalance. It'll have notes as well, and you can see the historical rebalance as well. You can see the past as well as what has been rebalanced in the past. Rebalancing is recommendatory in nature because actual rebalance will have to be executed by you by clicking on yes, I want to rebalance. Just click. You don't have to do a lot of drop downs or this or that. Just click. So it is authorization based. It's consent based. It will not be automatic. Nippon India ETF Sharia Bs does not comply with Sharia requirements. I think I will not make a comment on this on this forum, because there has been lots and lots of responses I've already given on this. It's pretty simple. Just look at the prospectus and you will figure out whether they are in Sharia compliance or not. Sapan Kumar says, I've already answered this question earlier. Question from Aftab: how much returns can we expect from these investment opportunities? As per the SEBI regulation, we cannot say what is the future, and as per any other, from a Sharia perspective also, we can't say what the future holds for us. We can always make informed decisions, calculated decisions, and hence we have given you the portfolios with full disclosure as the regulator tells us to give, so that you have enough information to make an informed decision based on your investment style, your risk appetite, your capital protection strategy, and your capital at risk. So if you are not sure of how and which moons to track, do consult a registered investment advisor in your jurisdiction. We cannot say how much returns you can expect. It's all market-driven returns. How does Islamicly make money from the platform? Islamicly makes money on the subscription fee that we charge you. Very simple, transparent, straightforward. Islamicly makes money only on subscription. There are no commissions passed back to us on the trades. There are no commissions passed back to us from any of the benchmark funds. For that matter, we have no relationship whatsoever with the benchmark funds, and we do not get any pass back from the brokers as well. For that matter, we spend money when people trade the Islamicly Moon. It is Islamicly who get charged for that. So it is the other way around. Islamicly makes money only on subscription fees as of now. Ahmed, thank you for this, for the positive comment again in the Q&A. I'll skip that because we have paucity of time. Okay, question from Arif Muhammad. In small case, there is option minimum investment after buying the small case. Is Moon like that after invest? Yes, there is a minimum investment size on the Islamicly app as well. And I think I've answered this. The investment baskets under Islamicly are slightly bigger, especially in India, because we do not have fractional availability over here. And we do try and eliminate high price stocks as well. So yes, we have tried our best to keep it at a minimum. So it does start in from 35 to 40,000 rupees on a minimum basis, and goes up to 150 to 200,000 as well. Yes, you can invest in multiples as well. In the US and Canada markets, the investment sizes are smaller, and that should not be a problem because you have fractional available over there. All right, Swapan is asking a very good question. The expense ratio for mutual fund include all transaction charges, but here you are paying subscription on top of all of that. You still have to pay statutory charges, STT, GST, brokerage, etc. But mutual fund costs include all of that. How can you honestly claim that this product is more cost effective than mutual fund? Very nice. We have one subscription which is not linked to a moon. So you take one subscription. Let's say you take the subscription for $60, okay, or $50, whatever price you get, okay. Well, we have offers going on at any given point in time. Let's say on an average, you usually spend $50 on the Islamicly subscription. Now your investment portfolio is let's say for example $1,000. So that's 0.5%, correct? That's 5%. 0.5%. All right. A mutual fund or an ETF will charge you anywhere between 0.5 to 2.25%. Plus, there are exit loads as well. And that is only to access that one mutual fund. If you have to invest in another one, you have to pay the same charges. In Islamicly, you pay $50, $60, $70, whatever is the subscription fee you pay. That's separate. You can invest in hundreds of moons if you have the capital. So effectively, in the long run, it will be more cost effective, and there are no charges apart from any of the subscription fees that we charge. Yes, the statutory taxes are applicable that is the STT, GST will be applicable. Brokerage will not be applicable in most of the brokers. Some of them may charge, and if they do, please do report that to the Islamicly customer support, and we will try and figure out a solution for that. So I believe this is definitely a cost-effective solution. It's not only me. We've spoken to registered investment advisors, and they've all said that this is definitely a most cost-effective solution. It's simple. Do the math yourself. If you're investing in one single ETF, what's the cost? If you're investing in multiple moons and Islamicly, what's the cost? Make the comparison. Does this moons are in compliance with SEBI or RBI compliance? I do not think there is RBI compliances applicable on it, apart from the general fund flow and stuff like that. But yes, as we have said, this is a SEBI approved, SEBI, I wouldn't say approved, this is in line with the approved regulations of SEBI, and hence it has been built by a research analyst. The disclosures are given on the app as well as in the presentation over here. All right, I need to move fast. It's already an hour and a half. If you want to invest from India in US market, Islamicly Moons, are there any brokers that are supported to invest in foreign markets from India? Yes, there are many brokers that are supported for Indian residents to access the US markets. I think Zerodha is one. You do have interactive brokers. You have, I think, Vested, which are available in the Indian market, which allow Indian residents from India to invest in the overseas markets as well. Jalal has a good comment. Why do we need thousands of funds just to make inflation adjusted returns is what I would believe he would want to say. All we need is only a few that diversify and gives inflation adjusted returns. Thank you. From our perspective, we'll have to give the entire market, because we are giving out the screening of pre-built moons which need to replicate a mother fund. So if a person is searching for any of the existing mutual fund, we need to have it on the platform and we need to see the subset of it. It may be a good investment return, it may not be a good investment return. We are agnostic to it. We're giving the entire list and giving the comparable moons as well. So whether we give thousands or we give a few, it's neither here nor there. The portfolio, Mubashir is asking, is Islamicly registered with SEBI? Islamicly is a tech platform. It is a display and an information platform. An investment product over here, which is the Islamicly Moons, is in compliance with SEBI RA. The disclosures are given on the app, and at any given point in time that you try and execute it, those disclosures will be brought in front of you so that you are very aware as to what you are going into. And being a Sharia compliant platform, it is essential for us to tell you the key terms and conditions in front of you so that you make a very, very informed decision and there is no ambiguity in it. Junaid Sheikh says, does this mean we'll have more MFs apart from Tata Ethical? You have all the MFs in India, you have all the ETFs in India, and now you can try and invest in a portfolio of stocks which copies the investment style and the constituents of any conventional fund. So you really do not need a Sharia compliant mutual fund in the market for you to access the market. We have democratized the market. We have opened up the entire market that any mutual fund and any ETF can be accessed by a Sharia compliant investor via the Islamicly Moons, not directly, via the Islamicly Moons, in the formats and in the process as explained to you in this webinar. All right. What is your track record on approachability from customers who may have concerns regarding your Sharia screening methodologies as applied to specific stocks? Do you plan on transparently declaring the numbers based on which you have assessed the Sharia compliance status and how old these numbers are from the date of declaration of quarterly results? All right. It is pretty clear as to when a stock gets updated on the Islamicly app. So you have the last update date. It also tells you if a stock has changed compliance, and it gives you historical assessment as to which stocks, as to when the stock was compliant and under what periods. In terms of asking us for our work papers, these are something which is proprietary to us. If you have a question in terms of whether a stock is compliant, and if you have a specific question that I believe the I believe the debt computation is not correct, then you give us your debt computation. We'll give you our debt computation. All of this is transparently given on the app. We cannot be displaying it for every single stock. The key thing, and I repeat myself, I have repeated myself, the entire Sharia scholarships have repeated this multiple times. The key thing about Sharia screening is not the fundamental ratios, the debt over market cap, the cash over market cap. It is the most simplest and the easiest thing to do, for which we do not need to charge you a subscription fee. The hard work, the intelligence, the legacy, the pedigree, all of it lies in assessing whether the company passes the sector screening. We have found hundreds and thousands of companies, thousands, I would say, not hundreds, thousands of companies which may seem to be in a sector which is Sharia compliant. But if you look into it, you will have non-compliant activities. There's interest income above the 5% threshold. There's impure income. All of it cumulatively should be less than 5%. So it is not in the interest of anybody that the disclosure is given on the fundamental numbers. Fundamental numbers are debt to market cap ratio, the cash to market cap ratio. That's not the magic in screening. It's basic. A lot of people are trying to give you these ratios and try and divert you from the real issue of what is screening. Institutions, large institutions, index providers, large asset managers, large family houses, large sovereign wealth funds do not agree, or large Islamic banks do not agree whatsoever at all that screening is a function of just the fundamental analysis. That's the least of the concerns. That's the easiest of the concerns. The biggest issue is whether the company derives revenue from a Sharia compliant activity, and if its pure income is more than 95%. Inversely, its impure income should be less than 5%. The magic lies in that. Islamicly has a battery of people. We have 20 plus research analysts who are looking at all of these things. We have had more than 100 Sharia board meetings in the past 20 plus years that we've been doing this for institutions, index providers, and the largest of Islamic banks in the world. Please do not misunderstand what screening is. Screening is understanding the business model from a Sharia perspective and ensuring that the revenues of the company come in from a Sharia compliant activity. If I see a lot of the competition out here, a lot of these newer apps which have come up over here, I mean, they are just dumping the data as received from data service providers on you, and they put in an algorithm to look at it. I can point out hundreds, not tens, hundreds of issues fundamentally in the sector screening of stocks. And I feel so pained that people are not even questioning that, not because we are doing a good job or they are not doing a good job. No, everybody's trying to go do a good job. It's the user who's got absolutely distracted from what fundamentally is Sharia screening. So please do read, look at our previous webinars. I've spoken a lot about this, and that's why we give transparency. We give you a functionality that if you do not agree to the compliance of a particular stock, put up a comment. It is being responded to with numbers and data. So we are open to challenge. We are transparent. We are probably the only one who come in front of you and tell you what and take your questions. For that matter, I'm doing this webinar from Dubai, and I'm here for our Sharia board meeting. Scholars from 5 different countries are going to be arriving over here, and we are presenting all the nitty-gritties of Sharia compliances, equity screening to them. Do you think we convene a Sharia board meeting to ask them whether the debt to market cap ratio is correct? There's no need for them. They build the methodology. You just take the data, just do the computation correctly, and send it back. Why do we keep convening Sharia board meetings? It is to understand and discuss newer nuances of Sharia equity screening on the sector side, which is the key thing to be done. Every other app is absolutely not focused on that. And they're giving you disclosures on revenues, they're giving you disclosures on the fundamental numbers. What are you going to do? If a fundamental number is is 1% here or 1% there, it will change the compliance of the entire app. Yes, it does. It has to be accurate, but that's something which machines can do. Why is it that Islamicly sticks its neck out and says we are the most trusted, rigorously screened, Sharia governed, top scholar bagged, and that's the reason we take our time in terms of doing our assessments, and we're open to challenges. You can write to us saying that what is the issue in a particular stock, and our research team looks into it on a daily basis and responds as well. I hope I have been able to give color to your answer, if not been able to answer your question. Naveed says, does Moons has its own specific criteria for addition or removal of Sharia compliant stocks, or it follows the benchmark mutual fund ETF for stock performance? Yes, two criteria. One, all right, I have 15 minutes to wrap this up. Sorry. Two things which will drop the stock. If the mother index, the mother mutual fund, I repeat, if the mother mutual fund or the benchmark mutual fund drops a stock, that stock will also be dropped from the Islamicly Moon. The original benchmark fund has that stock. Islamicly Moon also has that stock, but this has become non-compliant. It will be dropped. So these are the criteria for which dropping or adding stocks have been input. The composition methodology has been standardized and has been published on the Islamicly Moon, so that we will follow that same methodology, so that the performance is tracked, the constituents are tracked, and we try to replicate it by applying the Sharia filters on top of it. All right. Can you also highlight that tax implication of buying individual stocks and then selling is higher, both in STCG as well as LTCG, as compared to rebalancing in mutual funds where there is zero liability on unit holders? Yes, you're absolutely right. All the tax implications of changing stocks in an Islamicly Moon is subject to the same tax implications as you have for the individual stocks. But for ETFs and mutual funds, since they are combined into a unit and the unit is not being sold and bought, the rebalancing doesn't affect you. How to compare benchmarks and moon baskets? All the comparisons are given on the Islamicly app. Just download the app. It's completely, even if you have not subscribed to it, look at the moons. You can explore it. You can see a couple of moons, how it looks, what are the comparisons, what are the methodologies. It is a very, very, very comprehensive product. So yes, there is a comparison between the benchmark and the moon's performance as well. The graph is given. Mubashir is asking, is it like a mutual fund or is it like a small case? It is like a small case, not a mutual fund. Okay. Do you have a tie-up with 40, 50 AMCs, or you rely on monthly portfolio disclosures? We have access to the constituent data of all the funds in India, and this is something that we use as well. So it's just not 30, 40, 50. There are thousands of mutual funds, thousands of AMCs through which we get the data. If I subscribe to Moons, do I also get access to general screening of all other stocks which are not part of any Moon? If you access very simple. One subscription gets you access to screening, gets access to all the Moons. So it is not, a subscription is not per Moon. Subscription is to the Islamicly platform. The access to Moons is free. The access to screening also comes along with it. If you have a subscription, one single subscription, inshallah, as we go along and move and get more and more products, as long as there are no additional costs of it or third-party costs to it, any new product coming under Islamicly will always be available under one subscription itself. And that's how we want to reduce the overall cost of investments. Right. We will be standardizing our subscription fees as well. It's almost standardized now. Yes, there are offers on popular demand. We'd like to get all kinds of people into the fold. And any which way, the subscription fee is not significant. It's not huge. It's a very, very small fraction, micro fraction. And that's how we want to bring the cost of access to the most comprehensively screened, the most trusted screening, and the one which is backed by the most experienced Sharia scholars in a very small fee. Barakallah feekum, dear brothers, for all your answers. Does this Moons launch mean that Islamicly will stick with stock screening and not be screening ETFs in the future? Yes, ETFs, mutual fund screening, Islamicly Moons is the answer to it. There is no such thing as how you might have looked at other places that people take an ETF, screen it, and tell this is halal or this is non-halal. We call it compliant or non-compliant. That methodology is not backed by the Sharia scholars, and inshallah, you can figure it out yourself if you study it a little bit, that it doesn't give you an alternate to investing in a Sharia compliant manner. You cannot be investing in a ETF or mutual fund which is not certified as Sharia compliant, and you cannot do filtering on it, you cannot do screening on it. There is no methodology which is approved by a Sharia scholar as of now. Hence, ETFs and mutual funds can only be invested in if they are certified as Sharia compliant. For non-Sharia compliant ETFs and mutual funds, which comprise probably 99% of the entire mutual fund and ETF industry, Islamicly Moons is the revolutionary answer. Go ahead and use this. You will probably not go back to any mutual fund or ETF in the future. How can NRIs benefit from Islamicly Moons? NRIs can also invest in Islamicly Moons if you have a trading account in India. You can open a non-resident Indian trading account while being abroad on multiple brokers nowadays because of digital KYCs available now. Mustafa is asking how to access how to access global stocks ETFs through Islamicly. Subscribe to Islamicly, go to the stock section, you get all the markets in the world that you want to access and get the latest screening on those stocks. So it's all available on the Islamicly app. We were the pioneers in this. Is there any Moon available on global markets? We cover India, USA, and Canada as of now, and we will be increasing more and more markets very, very soon. Very soon, for that matter. Some stocks on Islamicly shown as compliant, but those shown are shown as non-compliant on other apps. I just 5 minutes back have responded this in a very, very strong language. Apologies if you felt that to be too strong, but that's the reality, and we've got to say what the reality is. We welcome that more and more people come into the market. There are more and more platforms come in the market so that everybody becomes competitive, and at the end it's the Islamic community, it's the Muslim Ummah which gets benefited. But yes, it has to be trusted, it has to be backed by the best governance mechanism, if not better, at least at par with the convention. And that's what Islamicly follows, and that is why there are differences in screening between us and the others. And if you want to challenge our screening, you're most welcome to just go on the app, look at the stock, there is a comments under it. Put a comment, our research team will respond to that. Are there any additional charges in small case in Moons as they are in small case, additional to brokerage charges? We believe there are no brokerage charges as well, but it is something that we will have to get an understanding from you as a user while trading on your specific brokerage platform, because we cannot control the terms and conditions that your broker imposes on to doing this integration with us or executing a basket of stocks. At worst, it will be the same brokerage charges that you have agreed to with your broker. Ahmed has put up a recent question on Islamicly. Some ETFs are screened halal from Wahid. Makes marked at compliant. Is it a mistake? No, Wahid's halal ETF is having a Sharia certification from its own Sharia board. Hence, it is compliant. Also, it is benchmarked to a Sharia-compliant index, hence it is compliant. Plus, they themselves are giving a certificate which says that this is in Sharia compliance. So there's no problem. Yes, there may be certain stocks within the ETF which may be compliant. On Islamically screening, it may be non-compliant. I've given you the reasons why this could occur. It's not a big issue. If a product is certified as Sharia compliant, let's just trust that and go ahead with it. Just ensure it is certified by a Sharia scholar and not by the company itself. And it has an audit as well, that a semi-annual audit should also be conducted. And the last and the most important thing is a Sharia compliant ETF or a mutual fund gives out the purification number as well. If a purification number has not been given, then it's very, very difficult to ensure the entire product is in compliance with Sharia. Mahmoud is asking, how do you manage to get benchmark data from other AMCs? There are ways and means. And hence we have created this product. So don't ask me for my working papers in terms of technology. Let that USP be. On Sharia, ask me anything. We are absolutely transparent on that. All right, we have got less than 5 minutes left. I will go back to the chat function if I've missed something else. Does any small case from Moon replicate Tata Ethical Fund? There is no need for it, but I believe it will be there possibly in the universe section. Thank you all. I believe your answers have been given. I believe the Islamicly Moons is a revolutionary product and I hope you enjoy it. We're open to feedback. We're open to improvising this. This opens up the entire mutual fund and ETF industry to Islamic investors, not only in India, but globally as well. We hope to bring more and more such products to you. Keep subscribing to the Islamicly app. Your support and your encouragement is what gets us going. And as well as also tell your friends and you yourself if you think that this is a good service which helps you in your Islamic investment journey in the most credible manner, in a more trusted manner, and with the best governance that any financial institution can get to you. Please do rate us on the App Store. It does help. It gives people more confidence. It is up to us. If we believe in something and we are good with something, we should spread that good. No, you don't know what good is going to be useful for your friend or for the other person. Please do spread the goodness. Keep subscribing to the Islamicly app. Go ahead and also please do review us on the Islamicly App Store. We are absolutely grateful for your support, and inshallah we'll keep coming up with more and more such products. Thank you for joining us. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum.
This video is for informational, educational, and promotional purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Consult your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. The securities quoted are for illustration only and are not recommendatory. Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.